Apparently, it looks like it did work. So, yes, it did work. It did work. That was like forever. Still loading like forever. Oh my. So when we updated the bucket policy, the problem was solved. So bear that in mind. We said that the bucket policy in of itself helps you to determine how objects in your bucket are going to be accessed, right? So yes, that's just that. It should be okay. So whilst we are waiting for it, it's still loading. Whilst we are waiting for it, let's just go to CloudFront and create our distribution to see how we can access it from our CloudFront. So let's just put web. We have to give our CloudFront distribution a name. So let's just do a single website. If you want a multi-tenant where you are using one CloudFront domain, one CloudFront endpoint to access multiple domains, then you choose this option. Other than you are good to go. You can explore around that too. You are good to go with just a single website, and then we'll skip the domain. That's if maybe you had used Route 53. You have the certificate manager, TLS. So we'll just leave that. And the tax, as I explained earlier, is the same concept. So let's move on to next. Oh, what just happened? Let me just do it again. What web? Okay, hopefully it will work. Yes, and it did work. So one thing you need to understand is that if you want CloudFront, we said CloudFront is a content delivery network, right? It helps you to sort of like cache content to edge locations to reduce latency, right? So we have different origin, okay, sources from which CloudFront can cache content. So you can cache content through your S3, through your ELB, through your API gateway, through your elemental media package, through your VPC origin or others. Okay, so today we are going to just use the S3 bucket because that's where we uploaded our website. So we are just going to select a location. Let's check up on our website. Okay, so it's in, but it has lost some features and quite weird. Let me just refresh and see if it works. But it's in. We've been able to access it after using updating the object policy. Voila, it's in fully. So that's just that through the static. So we want to see how we can deliver content through CloudFront. And then when we are done in this time on hand, we'll just play around with Amplify. So back to it, we'll select our bucket name. We'll select our bucket name, bucket here. It's actually the only option here for the purpose of this tutorial. So you just select that. And there's a recommendation that you use, you see when we enable the S3 static website hosting, okay, there was an endpoint that came, okay. They are suggesting that we use that endpoint as opposed using the direct origin domain name. So let's just go for that, and this is it. Okay, so let's just explore to customize the origin settings. Okay, I think these are okay. You enable origin shield for security, and these are just okay. Let's see with the cache settings as well. Yes, we redirect. So there's something I want to I want to make clear here with caching. So if you choose HTTPS only, okay, you may not be able to access it because we are using HTTP. To use HTTPS, which is more secure, okay, you need TLS SSL. Okay, other than that, you use the HTTP. So what we are going to do is, and most web browsers, okay, including Microsoft Edge, Chrome, they automatically wired to us and to allow for HTTPS because of security reasons. So if you don't redirect HTTP to HTTPS, you might not be able to access it unless otherwise you manually come to your URL, okay, and take the S away. Okay, then you search, then you press enter, then probably you can be able to access it. And then the HTTP method is that you are getting the head. So I mean, you leave all the others like that. So I think this works. So let's move on to next. Then you can decide to enable WAF, web application firewall. You can decide to enable WAF, web application firewall. That helps with protecting your website from attacks, cross scripting, and any other malicious thing. And so it comes with a cost actually. So with picking that, you see that there's $14 for per million requests per month. So for the purpose of this tutorial, let's just not incur any other costs. We don't enable that. So let's just review. Yes, everything is set. And when we create our distribution, we should be able to access our website from the CloudFront endpoint. So this should be done in a bit. Voila. So yes. So you see this is a distribution name. So let's just copy it and open a new tab and paste it. And we should be able to access our website. We should be able to access our website. Normally, the CloudFront distribution domain comes with a .NET, some figures, then .cloudfront.net. So that's your distribution domain name. Okay, so we should be able to access it. Let me refresh again. Whoa, so we are not actually able to access it. So let's go to CloudFront and see what the cost may be. Let's come to security. I love to explore because, you know, one thing is that for, I don't know about the other cloud service providers, but for AWS, they are always almost innovating with the UI UX. So if you signed here last year, you did a tutorial with CloudFront last year, and you are not meticulous on their website, you might get confused. Why? Because there are so many changes that goes on. Okay, so let's check out what the origin. So it's important that you explore when you're on the website. Okay, I think there's nothing to see here. See here, so let's just save changes. Oh, you see, that's one thing about working in the cloud. You just have to be troubleshooting, you know. And sometimes if you are not tenacious enough, you back off, you'll be fed up, you know. But have that curiosity to explore, and you see that you'll be okay. So let's check the behaviors. Probably the fault should come from the behaviors. So let's see. Okay, so you have origin group conference subject. No, it's being redirected. restrict viewer access, no, cache legacy, S3 optimize, request header. Let's check the additional settings. Smooth streaming, row time, no. Origin request. I think we are actually good here. So what could actually be the issue though? Anyways. Okay, let's just keep exploring. Let's come to the error page. Invalidation. Let me see something here. Okay, nothing much to see here. Or could it be that it didn't take time to refresh before we actually access it? That's why. So let me refresh again. That would be quite funny, you know. Because literally every box is checked. I think that is the cause. Hopefully. Let me check on our Amplify. Let's just reload it again. Back to our CloudFront. This should work. Guys, pardon me, okay? My internet speed is in the case, which is so sad. Yeah, voila. So we did it. It came from the CloudFront distribution. When you take a look at the URL, you see that it has the cloudfront.net. So congratulations if you stayed with me to this point. At this point, I just want to explore a little bit of Amplify and see how we can actually host. So AWS actually recommends that if you are hosting a static website, for that matter, like this portfolio website, they recommend using the Amplify. So let's see what's so special about Amplify compared to uploading to S3 and then enabling static website. Because if you come to S3 bucket, okay, and you go to where you have the enable, don't know if I still have it, so properties actually, and you scroll down to S3 website hosting. Read what's here. It says we recommend using AWS Amplify hosting for hosting static website hosting. Okay, deploy a fast, secure, and reliable website quickly with AWS Amplify hosting. Okay, so let me try this link again from here, since this is taking like forever. Whilst we wait for it, so this is the website from the URL from my local desktop. Okay, and then this is the URL from access from the CloudFront domain endpoint or name. Okay, and then this is where we access it from the S3 buckets hosting directly. So that's just by the way. Let me see if this will take like forever. I'll just have to end the session because it's becoming long. Okay, whilst we wait, when you are done with your tutorials, to save cost, you may want to delete all resources. So you can decide to start with your CloudFront. With CloudFront, you may have to disable before you can delete your distribution. And then with your S3, okay, with your S3, you have to empty every file that is in your so for example, this is your backup here, and you delete your bucket. You can't delete Okay, it will load and it will tell you that there are files in. See, this bucket not empty. To empty the bucket to delete it. So I think you can just empty it from this point. Empty. And I think if we do that, we will not be able to use the amplify. So let's wait for a while. And then when you are done emptying it, they'll just ask you for a prompt to be sure permanently delete. Okay. And when you are done, you see that you'll be able to now delete your bucket. But for CloudFront, as I was saying, okay, you have to first disable it before you be, and after a minute or two, you'll be allowed to delete. Guys, don't leave any resources. If you are on free tier eligible, fine, but still you have to make judicious use of these resources because these are physical servers sitting somewhere in AWS's, probably US is 1, North Virginia. Okay, that is being put on. Electricity is on. Cooling and heating is on. So please, let's make judicious use of it. Thank you. So this is taking like forever. Okay, it should be in a bit. It should be in a bit. Guys, please, any comments, any anything you want me to change in terms of how I teach, how I do my tutorials, feel free leave a comment in the chat box and I'll be glad to. So yes, I think the Amplify is loading in bit. It should be available. So I believe the way Amplify works is that you just upload your code or your assets, okay, and then it does the provisioning and everything for you. Okay, so let's see. Oh my god, sometimes I feel like throwing this laptop away. Then again, I remember it's not the laptop, it's my network, unfortunately. Okay, so it's in, so you can choose to give your website a name. So let's say what web, okay, and then you can manually upload objects to deploy your app. You can choose to drag and drop artifacts directly. You can use it. So yes, so the method, you can decide to drag and drop. And if you are doing that, you have to zip all of your assets. So for example, if it's a static website, your HTML, your CSS, your Tailwind, all the pictures and videos you use on your website, all the assets, okay, or as Amplify calls it, your artifacts, okay, you have to zip them into a file before you upload. And you can decide to do same with, maybe you have it on a URL, private URL, you can just resource URL, you can just use a URL. But we for the purpose of this tutorial are going to use S3 bucket. So let's just browse to select the location of our object to host. Okay, so I think it's selected, so that's fine. Let's just save and deploy and add our source.